Alright, so while I was under the car, I ended up taking off all the Ebrake stuff, so it's a little adjuster and the little rods and all that stuff, because I actually got new cables. So I'll be putting those on shortly. But I'll show you how I run this fuel line. So pretty simple. Just kind of goes up and around, and then it's just kind of roughly in place there, so I haven't finished that. And then just, you know, all along the bottom of the frame rail, inside the frame rail at the bottom, all the way up. And I had to notch out a few little things so it's not going to touch anything. But yeah, it worked out really well. So this pipe or tubing was super easy. I sure hope it lasts, because I recommend it to anybody else. So yeah, now all I gotta do is just figure out how I want to bend over that fuel line and go right into the sender, finish off the this one line here, the rear line. Like I said, it's gonna run it down there and in there, so I might even just do that real quick. And then I'm just waiting on one hose, and then I have to get a special fitting, which I'd already ordered, to go from 3/16 to quarter. And I think that's pretty much all I gotta do, other than waiting for the master cylinder. Alright, so I figured I'd show you this Ebrake setup real quick. So it's two cables. This is the rear cable, that's the front cable. Pretty simple. So the rear cable, it has this little adjuster, which has this little rod right there. So ultimately the cable just ends up fitting in like this. And then you end up putting the threaded hook through it. I believe it goes this way, but it might not. And then this goes into this little bar right there, which is how it levers itself from the front. And then there's just two fine thread nuts. You put one on one side, one on the other, and that's your adjustment to put or take some slack out of the Ebrake setup. So it's real easy to get going and all that. It's got these little clips that hold it into the body. And then the only thing you gotta be careful with is these pieces here that go onto the drum on the back side. They go in and they don't want to come out, so you really got to make sure, you know, if you want over the axle or the leaf or whatever you got to do, make sure that's correct. But yeah, I'll get this all kind of half together, and then I'll show you how it all turns out. Alright guys, figured I'd show you how this all works. So this is the cable right there, and those are little stoppers there, and that's the bracket. And then that runs around here, and this is the little piece that I was showing you, and this is the adjuster, so you can put more or less tension on it. Obviously, the tighter it goes here, the more it's already pulling. This is the new cable that's going to be running to the front, which I haven't hooked up yet. And it has its own adjuster as well right there. And nothing has cotter pins in it, that's what it's supposed to. But basically, as you pull on the brake in the front, it just pulls that ahead. And you can see it's going to put tension on the back. And that's all there is to it. These ones, I like to change them on you know, more modern stuff. They have their own kind of cables, but just it's a two-piece system. So in this one, if one cable becomes harder to get than the other, it'll pull the brake on one, not the other, and do a bunch of screwing around there. So for whatever it was, 40 bucks, take it apart, clean it, put it back together, and then put all brand new cables in. So I left off, I was putting in the Ebrake cable there. Everything's going good. I really thought I'd start putting the brake shoes together and all that, and then I ran into this problem. So the Ebrake cable obviously comes out the back, and it's supposed to go in right there. Now the problem is I put the backing plates on the wrong side, so the that hole right there is supposed to be on that side in the front. So both backing plates, the Ebrake, face backwards, and that's not how they work. So probably all that work you just watched me do, I gotta now undo, pull the axles out, screw around, flip these side to side, axles back in, and then I can be back to where I thought I was. So yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but that's how she goes. So I'll start pulling these apart and do it properly second time around. Okay, so I got the axles out and backing plates off. So this is the backing plate that was on the, this is the driver's side. You can clearly see the Ebrake holes facing backwards. Where now as I put this one on, fit on just like that. And now the new hole there for the emergency brake cable is right there. So this will just kind of fit in there. I'll just put it in loose. And that's how it's going to go. So pretty simple. So yeah, double check before you do that. Don't do like I did, because that's a big waste of time. But I'll put these back together in fast motion and be right back to where I was yesterday. Alright, well, the camera ended up dying there, but I got both axles are back in, and the backing plates are both on the correct side now. So I can put the e-brake together, which is nice. And actually, while I was doing that, Amazon guys showed up, and my new rear brake hose got here, and master cylinder, and I just found a couple of fittings I'm going to use for it. So those are in, ready to go. I already put both fittings I need in there, so they're both 1/4 inch lines I'm going to use. So I'll just kind of mock it up in the firewall, and I'll run the 2 lines down, and I'll probably leave a little bit extra slack. Maybe I'll put a loop in it or something like that. See if I'm going to run power brakes or not, see if that'll all fit. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to get started on that next. Yeah, make a little bit of progress. So up front, I just put the master on real quick. There's a couple of bolts, and now I can run my lines around. So I got to do a little Googling and just see what people do, if it goes on what side of the steering, and then kind of wrap its way around in there. So I'll get to that and kind of show you the process of that. Alright, so I'm just kind of plumbing these in there. So I got the rear one in, you can kind of follow it around, put a little curl in it, and it goes up. And then this one's I'm just working on now, so I'm putting a few bends in it. I'm going to kind of mark it, and again I'll put a little curl in it, and then flare the end, and that should be it. And hopefully nothing leaks. So yeah, I'll get right to it. I'll probably show you guys how I put this little curl in it, because it's a neat little trick there. Alright, so here's a magic tool. It's just probably a 30mm socket there, clamped in the vise. And I just kind of gave it a quick eyeball bend on the car as to where I want to do it. Then you just kind of work your way around. This stuff's so soft, it makes a perfect bend. So here it is. They're both in. They both have little curls in them. They're just sitting there. I didn't flare those ends yet. That was just kind of for mock-up. I did flare the bottoms. But yeah, so that's where it's going to go. Again, I'm not too sure if I'm going to put a booster on. If I do, it'll move the master cylinder out a little bit. And there's actually a bracket, which I saw online there, that moves everything over and up a little bit. So if that's the way things go, so I can get the valve cover off, I have enough slack in these lines that it shouldn't be an issue. I don't have to remake any or anything like that. Should be lots of room there. I might have a little screwing around and do with the headers, same thing. So that way there's lots of room here. I can move it back, forward, do whatever I got to do, suck them in. And yeah, that should be that. I know on the factory cars, they go right down the firewall. So on this one, I may have to, lengthen it and kind of push it all the way back and stuff. But again, once you get the headers on and all that sort of stuff, I'll kind of figure it out. Because again, the tubes all kind of do a bunch of miscellaneous things. But it's a good start. And worst case, I got to make new ones. But yeah, making progress. So I'll probably get on the e-brake next, see if I can get that front cable hooked up and all attached, and then rear shoes from there. Alright guys, I figured I'd show you. Basically everything's done. I finally got this little fitting here. So it's pretty simple. This is actually just a tube nut I put in there. But all this does is it adapts the 1/4 inch into the 3/16. So this little brass piece right there is everything I need. So I should be able to put that in. I'll finish up the rest of this line. I'll flare it, put that tube nut on there, and then I'll be all done. So I'll be getting to that. But before I do that, I just picked something up. It's way more fun than brakes. I just picked up this tunnel ram. Set of dual quads on it. It's got a linkage and everything there. And it's all dirty, but it's actually a polished one, so I can polish up if I want to. apparently both carbs work and all that sort of stuff, so I guess we'll see. I'll take them all apart and go from there. But that's the exciting part of the day. The whole reason I'm building this car is for flip front end and this style stuff, so hopefully these will work out without a whole lot of effort and go on. I was looking around, there's probably not a big chance of a standard HEI distributor fitting in there, so I'll have to figure something out with that. But those are all problems to handle down the road, so yeah, where you get the motor back, put it all together. But for now, this is where I'll sit. I gotta do the boring stuff like brakes. Alright guys, so there we have it. If we can get in here. But the brake line's all in, got a little clip in it to hold together. So basically the brakes are done front to back. Other than I gotta redo where the master cylinder is, because I'm sure it'll hit the headers. They're all plumbed together though. So that's that. I got the tunnel ram in the corner for now. And next thing I'm going to start on, which will probably be the new video, will be putting the drums together. So clean these all up and everything, but you'll have to come back on the next one to watch that. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, tell all your friends, and make sure you comment and let me know how I'm doing. Alright guys, see you next time.